We're all one skill away from changing our lives, and a lot of us don't even know it. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the one skill that will turn you into a sales machine. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin Shoemaker. I'm the CEO and founder of LiQWYD Water Solutions. We are a 7-figure business, and I really was able to build this because of sales. Before this company, I was earning about $250 to $280 a year in personal income as a sales rep. And I want to share what I learned to help you succeed in this industry. So let's dive in. I want to share a quick story before we actually go into anything else. When I first started in sales, I had very little training. So my first job was in water treatment, and most of my training was focused on general water knowledge and just collecting the payment. So when I hit the field, I wasn't really making that much money. I averaged about $5,000 to $6,000 a month, which obviously isn't terrible, but I only had like a 25% close rate. And like many other people, I read every sales book and watched every video I possibly could find, and that did help. But my income really started changing when I discovered the power of pain. Now, most sales training, as you guys probably know, focuses on one key thing, and that is objection handling. And objection handling means saying the right things after asking for the sale when a prospect doesn't say yes. Okay, so that's what objection handling is fundamentally. It's you say something, you ask for the sale, and it's whatever you say after the customer does not say yes. Now, this is a vital skill, but what if you could avoid objections altogether, or at least reduce them? Objection handling is like a quick fix drug. It doesn't address the root issues. If you only focus on objections, your results can be kind of unpredictable. So understanding pain is key. It helps us focus on core issues, not just objections. And this shift drives better purchasing decisions. And by mastering this skill of pain, you will get consistent close rates, sell for higher prices, get less objections, and you'll actually have to quote unquote sell less. So let me prove it to you. If you were downtown and it's scorching hot, and you've been walking for hours, you are gonna start feeling a little bit woozy, but you know you're headed to a restaurant with some friends and there's gonna be drinks there. A person then approaches you offering you water for $30. You quickly say no because you're almost at this restaurant. He then addresses your objection with a common response. And he may say something like, hey, I totally understand, what if, and then of course you cut him off because you tell him you're on the way to the restaurant and you don't need his water. He then offers it to you for free, but by the time that he offers it for free, you're already at the restaurant and he loses the sale. Now, let's say you're in the middle of the desert and you've been walking for hours. You're feeling woozy, you're dizzy, and you haven't had a drink in a long time. You realize this could be the end of your entire life. And just when you think it's over, a genie shows up, he offers you a bottle of water and directions out of the desert. However, it's going to cost you $5,000. You're in 10 out of 10 pain. And because if you don't drink, you will die. So you pull out your card and you pay the genie. No objections. In this extreme case, it's pretty darn clear. If you're in 10 out of 10 pain, you'll buy anything regardless of the price. And this behavior is literally ingrained in our DNA. It's called loss aversion. And the loss aversion study by Daniel Kahneman supports this. It basically showed that the pain of losing something is twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. So for example, losing $100 feels about 2 times more impactful emotionally and behaviorally than gaining $100 in short. So we're going to react more to pain than anything else. Pretty crazy, right? So if we're going to react to pain more than anything else, imagine if the salesperson in the previous example could tell you that the restaurant that you chose to go to was actually another 20 miles away. Plus, for some reason, all the other restaurants had contaminated water, assuming that was true. And then if all that were to be true, in this now different situation, you'd be more likely to purchase the water from that guy because you actually need it now. And this would have been better than just trying to quote unquote objection handle you to buy the water. And here's the truth. In sales, there's always going to be some sort of pain, and it's our job to do the following 3 things. Number 1, we got to identify the pain. Number 2, we got to amplify the pain. And then finally, like a good doctor, we got to solve the pain. Step one is to identify the pain. But to do so, we need to know about the different types of pain and what they are. They are the following. Number one, you're going to have passive pain, you're going to have present pain, and you're going to have active pain. Okay, now let's define them. Passive pain happens when a prospect sees possible issues, but isn't really impacted. For instance, a water treatment prospect may notice water issues in their home, but cleaning them is just a bit of an annoyance, but it's not really a major issue. So we could think of small water spots on their showers, or maybe their dishes get a little moldy or they don't look very good. Similarly, a solar prospect may have higher power bills, but they're not struggling financially. So they might be high, but they don't cost a lot for them to fix because they got a lot of money. Those leads are typically what we would call cold leads, and they often come from cold outreach. So you'll generally get these type of clients from door knocking or mailers or any type of list scraping that you might be doing. Now let's cover present pain. Present pain is when a prospect can articulate the pain they're experiencing and are looking for a solution, okay? A good example is someone with eczema or psoriasis, if you're in water treatment. They may want a water system to soften the water and help ease their condition. At this point, they're likely looking at other companies. However, the problem isn't urgent enough for a right now solution. These clients would be your standard warm leads. You'll get these a lot of times through SEO, Google ads, inbound calls, Facebook leads, referrals are good examples of these. These are what I would consider the good leads. Now let's go into active pain. These are what I would consider the hot leads. The prospect knows they have pain and they want this problem fixed now. So this is your standard in the desert guy. These are the ones who will buy right away, and they'll also buy at higher prices. And unfortunately, they are rare, okay? To increase your close rates and draw in higher paying clients, we must move prospects from passive pain to present pain into active. That is where the money is made. And because most people are not in active pain, this is a skill we must learn. Now that we know what pain to look for, we can complete step one, which is identifying the pain. So that's what we got to do first. We got to identify what category they're in so we know where to move them. And once we've identified it, we got to move on to step two, which is pain amplification frameworks. Okay, here is a 4-step pain amplification framework I use when I'm trying to amplify and stack pain. And we're going to do this through investigative questions. We're going to have the surface layer, number one. Number two, we're going to have the investigative layer. Number three, we're going to have the personal layer. And then step number four is we're going to pivot into other pain they may have. Here's an example of how these questions are framed. A surface layer question would be like, how can I help? All right, this is going to give you very broad responses and will give you an idea of general pain points. So in the water industry, this is going to give you responses like, my water is hard, or I have dry skin, or I want clean water, or I just don't trust the government, etc., etc. I'm then going to go into the investigative layer, and that's going to be more detailed questions. So I'll say, okay, great. Well, can you tell me more about that? Or what exactly do you mean dry skin? Do you know what contaminants are in your water? Which exactly are you concerned about? When you say you have dry skin, are you talking about eczema, psoriasis? Is it itchy? Are you having like a weird film when you get out of the showers? And I'm going to ask these probing questions based on their general responses. This will continue to build the pain in their mind. At this point, the pain becomes present, so at least they know it's there. And finally, once it's present, we can go into making the pain active by going into the personal layer with questions like, and how is this affecting you right now? Or what happens if this doesn't get fixed today? Or how comfortable are you in your showers moving forward? Or how many hours are you spending cleaning this? What kind of health issues is this causing your family? We're going to bring that pain into the present, make them actually think what happens if it doesn't get fixed or it's allowed to continue. We are getting as specific as possible here. And then you're going to follow up the pain amplification statements and stories, such as, it's actually worse as you thought. Or, here are the contaminants that we've actually found. Or, yeah, clean up the hard water is rough, but did you know it's actually worse than what you thought and can cause, and then you'll list all the things that can happen if they don't get it fixed. You can also reference your current client base. Like, my other client had these issues and they were spending X number of dollars trying to fix it. Here's what happened afterwards. Or they had the exact same problems that you had with your skin and your hair. Then it got a solution and then it got fixed. And if you have testimonials to back this up, it's even more powerful. We can go on and on with all these different examples, but fundamentally, you want to sit down and write out as many of these as you can that relate to your industry. All right, this is the moneymaker. In the personal layer, connect with their pain. Share stories or examples of clients who face similar issues, show them how you help them, and then bonus points, like I said, if you can show testimonials. If you have clients leaving reviews about the pain that you solved, save them. Those are so powerful. Okay, nothing sells more than an actual proof. If you have a few pain points, but suspect more exist, ask, what else have you noticed? And go through the framework again. If the client mentions just one issue, like hard water, but you know they use city water that has a ton of contaminants, you could ask, did you know about these contaminants in the water? Can I show you what else we have found that you might be interested in? And then you're going to begin the framework again to introduce more pain. The goal is to stack as many pain points as possible and move as many prospects as we can into active pain. This approach applies to any industry. It's not just water treatment. I just want to speak on that because that's actually what I'm doing right now. But once you can identify the pain points and create 4 to 5 questions for each part of the framework, you'll then be able to close them at a higher rate, all right? Because you'll be able to speak clearly, you're not gonna fumble over your words, and you're gonna be having these conversations more than they will, so you better damn well be able to articulate it better. Now that you have the framework, I wanna talk about the best way to implement this in the real world. Remember, we wanna ask for the sale when they feel active pain. The longer they sit in that pain, the more motivated they will be for you to help solve it. Here's the structure I like to use in my sales to get the most out of this process. Step number 1, I do my intro and rapport building with the client. This establishes trust, making the client more open to discussing the pain points that they have. It also helps me establish myself as an authority. This makes prospects more likely to listen when I identify their pain points and suggest possible solutions. I always think of the doctor in the white coat syndrome. Step number 2, I get passive pain points from the client, and I bring it to present pain by using the questions mentioned before. So at this point, it is still early in the sale, and I don't want them activated just yet, because that's gonna come later. To make this even stronger, I wanna remember all the pain points brought into present pain, because I will refer to them in step 3, which step 3 is I stack value by showing proof about the company. I'll talk about what we do, problems we solve, and stories of other clients we have worked with. This is where most of you make what we call the pitch. I will give examples that show their present pain at its absolute worst. So again, I'm not going to just solve their pain right away. I'm going to wait until I get to the pitch so that way I can organically show them like, hey, this is the pain that you described to me, and this is as bad as it can possibly get. But I'm going to use third-party examples, so I'm not necessarily saying this is happening to you. I want to make sure that they come to that conclusion on their own. This helps the client move their pain from present to active and start to sell themselves on why they need our solution, okay? Because they're going to see what can happen and they're going to be like, dang, I should probably not let it get to that point, all right? And then step 4 is I'm going to review the present pain with them and use the framework questions to shift it to active pain. If you did step 3 correctly, most clients will have already moved to some degree into active pain. And then step 5, after identifying their now active pain, I'm going to recap that pain with them and add an action pre-frame, which is a statement that will encourage my client to make a decision. This would sound something like, so just to recap, if we can solve this pain and the money made sense, you'd want to get this done ASAP, right? I would then introduce a solution that can address their current issues. Step 6, I would do my product offer presentation. So this is where you're actually going to present your main product offering or your core offer for your service. And you don't just show them the product, all right? That's what rookies do. You highlight which part of it addresses each specific pain point they actually have. So for example, let's say a client has active pain about health, but only passive pain about hard water and protecting their home. If my solution removes contaminants and protects their home against hard water, I will focus on health. Talking about just how this solution will take care of the hard water will take focus away from their main concern. Doing it any other way just introduces risk of objections. We want to focus on active pain. We want to make the main thing the main thing. Focus on what matters to them. And then step number 7, we're going to close a deal while they're in active pain. So to do this, I align my solution to the active pain and just ask for the sale. That's it. It's very, very simple. It's not easy. You will then shut up and let the prospect give you the response. You're going to hear yes, and you'll probably get less objections. The closer you can bring your client to a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, the more they're going to feel like that person that's in the desert. When you ask for the sale, then you're going to hear yes more often and face fewer objections. So learning and mastering this one skill will drastically change how much money you can make in sales. It definitely did for me. So I want to share it because I know it can help you as well. If I didn't learn this skill, I would not close at the close rates I do, and I would not be able to actually sell these units for the units that we sell for. All right. And I hope you found this helpful. So I want you to take it, implement it, and go on and make more money. If you do make more money from what you learned here, please let me know, as you guys are the reason that I'm making this content. Okay. And I do want to do one caveat on this, because in sales, you have to be ethical in everything that we do. So don't fabricate pain that is not there, and don't fabricate solutions that won't actually solve the problem. Okay. All we want to do is find the pain that they currently have and just make sure they understand that it can be worse. And a lot of times, depending on your industry, it can. If you're passionate about the product, that should come across, but just make sure whenever you guys are selling, you're doing it ethically. If someone cannot afford your product fundamentally, then the best way to solve this, even if they want your product, is find a way to get a solution that they can afford. All right. Whatever you do, do not shove your most expensive product down someone's face only because they are in a 10 out of 10 pain. We want to build genuine relationships with our clients. So if you're talking with our clients and they're like, hey, I want the best solution possible, but this is my budget, then find a solution within their budget. Okay. We want to build raving fans and clients. This is a tool to help you help more people. All right. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you found this useful, if it makes you more money, if it helps you close more deals, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it.